Explain like I'm 5, explain diarrhea. What happens to body during diarrhea? Especially the water part. Normally the water we drink is absorbed in the body, and most part of thrown removing toxic elements via urine. But during diarrhea, body loses a lot of water and we become dehydrated and weak. Suppose due to some process, let's say like osmosis, the water travels through membrane and finally transforms into another substance, blood. So during dehydration, does this process reverse? Why do we feel weakness? Also, when body knows it's getting weak, why it is still dehydration without absorbing any water? Someone please explain whole process. Stomach finds something bad. Body turns stuff in digestion system into liquid. Liquid faster at exiting body. Toilet time. This made me realize that though it's called explain like I'm 5, we never really explain it like we would to a 5-year-old. We are just very detailed. This is legit the true explain like I'm 5, which is reasonable for complex questions. Also rule 4 of the sub. Your small intestine typically has a lot of water, no matter what. Your intestinal tract has to be well lubricated to move the food along the many feet of intestines. It's not just water that's in your intestines. Of course, there's all kinds of enzymes and secretions in it, but it's still mostly water. Typically, during a normal bowel movement, it takes roughly 48 hours from when you ate your meal for it to be defecated. When it gets into the large intestine, the water from the small intestine gets reabsorbed for the most part. This happens passively and is not directly controllable. Water just flows from the intestine back into the bloodstream. This way, the body keeps the intestine well lubricated, but recycles the water. When you have diarrhea, your body believes there to be something wrong with something in your digestive system and shoots everything out as fast as possible. It doesn't have time to let the water slowly filter back into circulation. Better to be a little dehydrated and have to drink some water than keep a pathogen in the intestines. As for water transforming into blood, an important thing to remember is that blood is water. Blood is just water with some blood stuff in it. Your urine is just water with some waste products in it. The body doesn't differentiate between the water that's in blood or the water that's in intestinal juices. It doesn't keep them separated. As for why your body doesn't stop the process when it knows you're getting weak, your body is not conscious. It doesn't think these things through. One part of your body senses a problem and tries very hard to remedy that problem, and the rest of the body is playing catch up. Your body can and does hurt you, even with the best intentions. Your body is designed to survive, but sometimes it's a little too eager and tries so hard to help that it can hurt you. This last part is vital in a lot of things our body does. It doesn't know, and there is little conscious action behind a lot of the stuff our body does. Our body is largely still the body of a prehistoric ape, based on some evolutionary traits. Evolution doesn't find good solutions, it only finds good enough. And good enough is usually survivable in large enough numbers that reproduction keeps happening. Diarrhea is deadly if it goes on too long, but that doesn't care, as long as it happens infrequently. Most of us will survive and reproduce, so diarrhea is effective. Making it smarter is complicated. It may happen after 1,000,000 more years, not in today's society, but it will not be a deciding evolutionary trait as the current solution works. The same goes for about every other evolutionary trait we have. They may be bad in a lot of cases, but overall, the apes with these traits survived, so it's good, even if they were irrelevant for that survival. Explain like I'm 5. How come airlines still lose luggage with everything being computerized and barcoded? Edit. Thanks for taking the time out to reply. I'm enjoying reading all the different explanations and viewpoints. There is a lot of luggage. Even though there are many great pieces of technology, things can go wrong. Tags can get stuck in belts or adjacent pieces of luggage and ripped off. People can take a bag from the wrong cart and put it on a plane. It's not supposed to go on. The really bad situations occur when there is an overload of bags and they are taken off the belts and just stacked someplace. Yes, I'm talking about you, ship haul. You're leaving something out. The handlers don't want to bother after something goes haywire. Fixing a fuck up is extra, and they don't get paid extra. They either stumble across it and decide to give a fuck, or don't. When someone finds it, they are happy to just call it unclaimed and will send it to donation after long enough. There are documented cases of people locating their luggage, and it's just sitting beside the ramp outside for days or weeks. Or maybe it's in that room. The AirTag says so, and I can see the corner of it through the window right now. They will not let you in to check. They act like security of the baggage is a big deal, even though at the baggage carousel you can just grab anything and walk out, and unless the owner sees, nobody will ever know or stop you. And even though that whole room of luggage is destined for donation or the landfill, 853 million passengers per year. Even with 5 nines, 99.999% effectiveness, you would lose 8,500 suitcases per year. Tags come off luggage. Suitcases fall off carts or conveyor belts. Thrown on the wrong cart. TSA flags it for random screening and it misses its flight due to handoff between TSA and airline. Lost luggage is tracked and reported. They aren't anywhere near that good. The best airlines in the world report 0.3% of luggage mishandled, whereas European airlines combined reported a 1.57% for mishandled luggage. Mishandled just means didn't arrive when it was supposed to. 80% of mishandled bags do eventually get to their destination. Only 7% are lost or stolen permanently, and the remaining 13% is damaged or pilfered bags. Truly lost luggage is really only 7% of the mishandled luggage. I'm quoting 2022 numbers as they are the most recent ones I can find. Explain like I'm 5. Why can't we just spend however long it takes to brush our teeth over and over again until they're as clean and white as they were when we first got them? Like dentist office billboard advertisement levels of white teeth. Or is restoring a former brilliance of your teeth impossible through normal dental hygiene practices without cosmetic dentistry? Brushing too much damages your teeth. Not only will this not necessarily make them whiter, but they'll also be irreparably damaged to the point where eventually they'll completely decay because of the lack of an enamel protection layer. On top of that, white teeth doesn't necessarily mean clean or healthy either. Teeth can be a wide variety of colors and still be healthy. As long as they're not actively decaying and you're doing routine maintenance, you'll be fine. Don't fall for the marketing. They're just trying to sell you products you don't need. Indeed, my molars were perfect, sparkly, pristine fucking white when they absolutely obliterated themselves. No rot, no grinding issues, never really puked much. Just spontaneously all shattered to shit about the point I turned 18. Genetics just said nope according to the dentist, I guess. You know that frying pan with the brown spots that don't go away, no matter how hard you scrub, unless you literally scrape the top layer off or use harsh chemicals? Teeth are like that, only more porous, and you don't want to scrape the top layer off or use harsh chemicals. This is it, really. Teeth are very porous. The stains aren't on the teeth. They are in the teeth. That only works for surface stains. Sometimes the stains are on the inside too. Scrubbing deep will only reveal more yellow. You can see this when people get teeth filed down to small nubs before crowns are put on top. Sometimes the teeth are yellow deep inside. It can be from genetics, past medicines, environment, or what have you. The answer is dentin. It is the layer of material underneath your enamel, which is mostly clear. The color of the dentin is the color of your teeth. Surface cleaning only cleans the enamel and not the dentin. It is the dentin that turns yellow because of things that can permeate the pores of the enamel. Smoke, hot liquids, things held to the teeth for a long time, like chew or betel nut. Whitening the dentin similarly requires something that can permeate the enamel, like whitening gel with hydrogen peroxide that is held in place for a long period of time. Source: I worked on the launch of Crest White Strips, which is why I also know that whitening toothpastes are an ineffective gimmick. Explain like I'm 5. How so many legacy rock band members were insanely fit with all the touring, smoking, drinking, and drugs. They weren't necessarily fit, they were just incredibly lean. I doubt many of them could bench their body weight. During their touring days, they were also young and doing hours of cardio for performances on a regular basis. And a metabolic tendency to being lean and cute is what got them the gig in the first place. Plus drugs that suppress appetites. Hank Williams died in a slim cut. But for the most part, if they survived it, unless they made some big lifestyle changes, once the regular tour work stopped and middle age set in, they all put on weight. Most of those guys, OP probably is thinking about, look pretty rough for their age right now. The Rolling Stones have anteatered the chat? Okay, so they're on tour, but damn, Jagger is a freaking maniac. Performing is hard work. I used to lug a van load of equipment into a venue, set it up and test it, sing and dance for 3 hours, pack up the equipment and load it back into the truck. The whole effort was 7 or 8 hours of work. At the level I was at, the job is largely truck driver and equipment mover, with 3 hours of aerobics, 6 nights per week. I was remarkably strong and had loads of stamina. Being a stagehand means 2 heavy workouts a day. Friends who aren't in the business accuse me of being a fitness nut because my arms look jacked from coiling soca and feeder cable. I'm 54 and have been a stagehand for 27 years, and I have no interest in doing anything else. My hat's off to people who set up their own gear. I know an older European guy through work who once told me he knew the lead singer of the band Europe, of the Final Countdown fame as a teenager before he became famous. He said this guy was taking diet pills already in preparation for being a rock star. So I guess for some, I was a deliberate aesthetic they were going for to look the part, along with the long hair and crazy fashion. Plus, I wouldn't confuse skinny with fit. They're two different things. They weren't insanely fit. They were just skinny due to alcohol and drug consumption, especially heroin. A lot of drugs suppress appetite. Most of those guys didn't even have money to eat well because it all went on gear. For example, Guns N' Roses would hook up with random groupies every night just for a place to stay because they sold their hotel rooms for drug money. Being on stage every night sweating several liters of water only added to their shredded look. Well, that's another episode of Explain Like I'm 5 in the books. I really appreciate all of you who made it this far into the video. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, it would really help the channel out a lot if you gave the video a thumbs up, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.